In today's video, I'm going to be talking about new and upcoming makeup releases and makeup related releases that have caught my eye recently. So if you'd like to see what those are and what my thoughts are on them, just keep on watching. Before we get into these new releases, if you're new here, welcome. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would love for you to consider subscribing to my channel. I like to cover high-end, luxury, and indie makeup, and I like to do a mixture of a little bit of commentary like this video where we're going to be talking about new and upcoming makeup releases. I also love to review new makeup, do demos and tutorials, and also play with older makeup in my collection. So if all of that sounds good to you, I would love for you to consider subscribing. Now let's get into these new makeup releases. It's been quite a while since I've done one of these videos, so I thought it was time. There have been a few things recently that have really caught my eye that I thought I'd like to talk about. And I think the first thing I'd like to talk about is the LH Cosmetics Duo Dimension palette. So this is Linda Hallberg's makeup line. I actually haven't tried anything from her line yet, but it's been on my radar for quite a few years now, and I've actually recently ordered something from her. It just hasn't arrived yet. I ordered the Shimmer Saga palette, which I'm really excited to get my hands on. It's this little quad of 4 different multi-dimensional shimmer topper shades, so I'm really excited to try that out. And she's just brought out these new Duo Dimension palettes, which look to be more like cheek palettes, but you can use them on the eyes as well. There are 3 shades of these, and each has 2 colors in it, basically the same color but different finishes. So a more matte finish and a more shimmery finish of the same tone. There's a kind of peachy pinky one, more of a kind of brighter coral, and then there's this beautiful, more cool toned mauvey pink, which is the one that really caught my eye. I'm not planning to order this right now, but I'm hoping that these are permanent because I would love to get that more mauvey pink one. The shipping is quite expensive to Canada from LH Cosmetics. I think they ship all the way from Sweden, or at least from somewhere in Europe, so it's quite expensive to get items shipped here. So I would wait for a sale in the future, hopefully, if these aren't limited edition, but that is definitely on my wish list for the future. With this colorway in particular, I don't think I really have anything quite like that, and I also like the idea of having the matte and the shimmer version of the same color and being able to use them on both cheeks and eyes. Next up, I wanted to quickly mention the 3 new shades of liquid Lurex eyeshadows from Lisa Eldridge. They've already been released. I think they launched last Thursday, so I did order all 3 shades. We have this beautiful kind of golden bronzy type shade called Titania, and it looks to be the most shimmery of these 3 new shades. And we also have Cristallo, which is this very light pearly kind of mother of pearl type color, which I believe she says is kind of the most softly shimmering, so it probably doesn't have a lot of those little individual pearly particles that you can see. More of a smooth pearly finish is what I'm expecting from that one. And lastly is Viola, which is this beautiful deep kind of blackened plum shade, which also looks to be a little bit more softly shimmering, perhaps not quite as softly shimmering as the Cressida shade, but not quite as kind of glittery and shimmery as Titania. So they all look like beautiful shades. I've really been loving using the liquid Lurexes as eyeshadow bases lately, as well as one and dones, but when I'm doing like a full on eye look, I've been enjoying them as bases quite a lot. I actually used the shade Anais today as a base for this eye look, and I just think it adds something special and kind of helps to pull any look together while also kind of acting as a primer to help your shadows last longer and be more vibrant. So all 3 of those new shades are on their way to me, and I will be reviewing them, demoing each of the shades, and of course doing comparisons with the other liquid Lurex shades once they're in my hands. Next up is quite a big release that I feel like everyone is talking about, the Pat McGrath Star Wars collaboration. So this is set to release on December 16th. And it's quite a large collection. I don't necessarily want to cover all of it, but I definitely want to talk about some of the things that are most interesting to me. First up is a re-release of the Midnight Sun palette in special packaging. That's an easy skip for me because I already have the Midnight Sun palette. It's a beautiful one. It's my favorite Pat McGrath palette. Absolutely no need to get that. And I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, so it doesn't have that kind of special appeal to me. Where I do get more interested is in these 5-pan palettes. There are 3 different 5-pan palettes in this collection, which seems to be quite a similar concept to the 5 pans that she brought out for her holiday collection. I didn't pick up either of those. They just weren't appealing enough to me to want to get them. but it seems she's going with the same concept of these smaller 5-pan palettes, which I think is a great idea. I've really been enjoying smaller palettes lately, just more edited down palettes that I don't have to think as much about which shades I want to use because there are only limited options, but I feel like 5 pans is still enough options to be able to play around and create lots of different looks with. So we have the Golden One palette, which I think is C3PO on the cover of it. This is the least interesting to me. It's kind of a warmer toned. I just feel like I have these shades a million times over already in my collection, so I definitely wouldn't be picking that one up. But then the other two do look a little bit more interesting to me. So Sith Seduction, which has Darth Vader on the cover, this one does look quite interesting. It looks like all of the shades in this one are shimmers or metallics. There's a kind of platinum silvery one and then a slightly lighter like champagne-y, kind of cool tone champagne-y silver. And then the 3 in the middle are more colorful. So there's like a deep kind of warmer looking green. And then there's like sort of coppery rosy shade and then a deep navy blue almost looking shade. So those look quite interesting to me. I can envision a lot of different looks that I would want to do with that. And I quite like the idea of having the deeper kind of olivey foresty green and the deeper navy shimmers. I think that's quite interesting. And then the little pop of that rosy copper just adds something a little bit different to it as well. And then you've got the lighter metallics, which are great for lightening up or brightening up a look. So that one is on my radar. And the other one is also on my radar, the Divine Droid, which has R2-D2 on the cover of it. This one's more colorful. We have this beautiful bright blue, which kind of reminds me of the shimmery blue that I'm wearing today. I'm wearing the Oden's Eye Christmas Eve palette on my eyes today. So I'm kind of into that brighter shimmery blue. I think that looks quite beautiful. And there's a more light chartreusey type of color, which I'm always into chartreuse. And then there's this really interesting looking kind of neutral bronze, rosy bronze, taupey, shimmery type shade that is quite appealing to me. Deeper kind of pinky red, and then this beautiful deep shimmery violet, but kind of looks like a bit more of a muted violet. So that palette is quite interesting to me, and it's another one, again, I can envision a lot of different fun looks with that one. So those 2 of the 5 pans are probably the things I'm most excited about from this collection and that I am most considering picking up. I'm also quite interested in these Chromolux Artistry pigments. So there are 4 shades of these. Smuggler's Spice, which is a metallic rose with golden peach iridescence. That's the most interesting to me. Extra Galactic Gold, which is a metallic antique molten gold. That also looks beautiful, but less exciting because I feel it would be less unique in my collection. Then we have Rouge Rebellion, a metallic crimson with magenta undertones. Also beautiful, but I don't feel like I really need that one. I feel like the Auric Cranberry colored duo from last holiday would give me kind of a similar effect to what I would get from that one. And for the amount that I wear that type of color all over my eyes, I don't think it would be necessary to get this Rouge Rebellion. And then Falcon Noir, a metallic anthracite with blue undertones, which sounds very intriguing to me, but I would probably also pass on just because I wouldn't wear it that much. It's a little bit more deep than I would tend to want to have in a single shadow. Or that I would tend to want to wear all over my eye on a regular basis. Then she has a bunch of these liquid lipsticks. Those are not interesting to me at all. A couple of glosses, which I'm not interested in. She's re-releasing the 3 colored mascaras that she brought out with a recent collection. Perhaps it was with the holiday collection. It was either the holiday or with her latest Mothership release. Not interested in those. And then a special packaging edition of her Dark Star mascara, which I would skip on as well. So quite a large collection there and a lot to choose from. And again, that is releasing on December 16th on the Pat McGrath website. Next, I wanted to talk about the new Rare Beauty highlighters. So these are out already. These are the Positive Light Silky Touch highlighters. There are 4 shades of these. They're out already. And I'm just looking at the Sephora Canada site now. 3 of the shades are sold out. I did order 1 shade. I ordered the lightest shade, which is called Enlighten. It's described as a cool champagne, and it hasn't arrived to me yet. It's taking a really long time to get to me. So I will be reviewing and demoing that once I have a chance and once it arrives. I was curious about this mainly because of the description of it, and they say it's an innovative powder highlighter that gives skin an instant glass-like sheen for an easy, natural-looking glow that lasts. So to me, that kind of sounds like almost the effect of a cream highlighter, but in powder form, which I think could be a really convenient and useful thing to have. But we'll have to see how it actually looks and applies on the skin. But I was just curious about it mainly because of the description. And I generally just have good feelings about Rare Beauty as a brand. I enjoy a lot of their products and was just curious to try this. So that will be coming up at some point on my channel. Now, a collection that sold out very quickly. This is from Ritual de Fille, and they've brought out these crystalline matter eye soots. So the eye soots are an existing line for them. They're eyeshadows in these little pots, but I think this crystalline matter version is new. They all sold out within a few hours of being released a few days ago, and I was kind of on the fence about getting a couple of the shades because these look incredible, and I love the colors that they've come out with. But I'm just on their website now, and they say there is a last chance limited restock coming Tuesday, December 13th at 12 p.m. PST, and you can join a wait list. I might join the wait list. I'm still kind of on the fence, and I was a little bit disappointed when I saw that they had sold out. I'm particularly interested in the shades Moonstone and Fire Opal. Moonstone is a radiant mauve with platinum shift, which just sounds incredible. It sounds and looks quite similar to the Lisa Eldridge Bianca Liquid Lurex, which I've been really loving lately. I just think it's one of the most beautiful colors and finishes ever. So I'm very curious about that Moonstone shade. And then Fire Opal is a radiant peach with spring green shimmer, which also just sounds incredible and something that I would really enjoy. So in addition to being able to buy each of the shades individually, they do have little duo sets, so you could get those two shades together for a little slight discount. So I'm still thinking about those. They also have Alexandrite, which is a shifting sage green with purple mauve shimmer. Also sounds and looks incredibly beautiful, but maybe a little bit deeper than I would want. And then Serpentine or Serpentine, which is a shimmering smoky green. Again, gorgeous. It's like this kind of deeper tealy emerald type color, which looks really beautiful. But I think with my Lisa Eldridge Sorcery palette, I can get kind of similar vibes and create similar looks that I would with those two darker shades. So that's why I'm a little bit more interested in the lighter shade. So I am going to join the wait list. And if you're interested, I would say you should also join the wait list. But I still haven't decided if I will actually pick any of those up. I think Ritual de Fille is another one that shipping to Canada is a little pricey. I can't quite remember. I've only ever bought one thing from Ritual de Fille, and I do remember it took forever to get to me. So that's another slight deterrent, but those look really beautiful and I would be very curious to try them. So we'll see about those ones. Next up, I wanted to mention the holiday release from Sonia G. So she's bringing out kind of two different items as this holiday release. One is the Traditions Holiday Trio. So this is a set of 3 brushes. I haven't read her full blog post about those, but they look beautiful. And these brushes all have squirrel hair in them. So 2 have yellow Canadian squirrel and 1 is white Canadian squirrel. So I think those are quite rare hair types to be used in brushes. And these ones have the Kiyaki wood handles, so the same as the Kiyaki sets that she's brought out before, except I think these ones are longer because those are both more mini, like shorter handle sizes. This set for me is a relatively easy skip just because I don't feel that drawn to this collection. But the other part of her collection is something that is very tempting, very appealing to me. It's the Mount Fuji brush and holder set. As soon as I saw this set, I was just blown away by the beauty of it. In her blog, Sonia says it's her biggest brush yet. It's goat hair and the tips are dyed with persimmon dye, which is a traditional method in Japanese brush making. They just look incredible. The handle is maple and I love maple wood. I love that kind of blonde maple. And the ferrule is even a lighter color as well, which is really attractive to me. It's this kind of soft beigey color that goes really beautifully with the maple wood handle. And then the holder is gorgeous as well. It's meant to kind of represent Mount Fuji. The top part, which is meant to be like a snow-capped mountain peak, is maple again, and then the darker bottom part is walnut. And her blog post on this collection in particular is very interesting. So if you're curious about it, I will link it below. She goes through the whole process of creating the brushes and the holders, and you can really see the care and attention that both Sonia and the artisans who actually made these brushes put into this collection. So it's quite pricey, but it's quite a special item and it really appeals to me. It might be my birthday / Christmas present to myself. My birthday is very close to Christmas, so I may spring for this as a special treat for myself for my birthday and Christmas. The next thing is a new palette from Byredo. It's the Purple Echo palette. It's one of their 5-pan palettes. And for some reason, this just really caught my eye as well. I don't think I'll be getting it, but I still wanted to mention it and just talk about it a little bit. I usually don't wear a lot of purple eyeshadow, so that's a main reason that I wouldn't get this. But this palette is still very attractive to me, even though it's not a color story that I typically gravitate towards. I think part of the reason I warmed up to it a little bit is because of the Lisa Eldridge Myth palette, which has all those beautiful violet purpley tones. But that's also probably the reason that I wouldn't bother getting this Byredo palette, because I already have those colors in a formula and format that I really enjoy, so there's really no need for me to get it. But everything from the packaging to the colors inside the palette and what look to be quite interesting finishes and textures, all of those factors combine to make me really interested in this palette. I probably won't be getting it. I still haven't tried any Byredo makeup. I'm sure that time will come, but I just wanted to mention that because it really did catch my eye. So that's everything I wanted to talk about today. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if any of these things have caught your eye, what your thoughts are on these new releases, if there's anything else coming out that you're excited about. I'd love to hear about that in the comments. If you'd like to see more from me and you haven't subscribed to my channel already, I would love for you to do so. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.